welcome back to yet another Winked Unplugged, which we do every Friday on adulting challenges that we might be facing. A friend of mine reached out to me this week and he said, Ruchika, you talk about adulting joyfully and look at what's happening in the world, which we covered last week. How can one adult joyfully? And it made me think a little bit, so I'll address that first and then get into today's topic. There's so much suffering happening on the planet right now. If you look around anywhere, there are people either because of loneliness or strife or wars or natural calamities who are really going through a really tough time. Which is not to say we're not empathetic, we don't reach out and do what we want to. But if we think that because of all the unhappiness in the planet, I should also be unhappy and I cannot be happy, then it's going to be very difficult for there to be any joy on the planet, right? We need hope. If Gurudev Shri Ravi Shankar says this really well, if the candle says, there's darkness anywhere and therefore I should not give light, then there will be darkness everywhere. If the doctor feels guilty about being well, because patients around him or her are unwell, then we've kind of lost the plot completely. So I think we definitely need to ensure that we're reaching out. We're doing everything we can to help people who are suffering, who are going through challenges, in every way possible. And realizing that we're connected as one human family, but it's also important to stay positive, to see hope in all of this. And yes, it's a contradiction, but then life is about contradictions, and how do we walk at the razor's edge of these contradictions? So one of the contradictions that we're going to talk about today, which has been playing in my life personally for the last week, 10 days, has been this balance between passion and commitment. So as you might know, we're in the process of launching our app, which I've spoken to you about briefly once in a while. We're very close. We're a couple of weeks away. So you can imagine it's the last stretch, and the amount of craziness. You're looking at everything, ensuring it's working fine. You're testing, you're finding bugs, all of that, right? Stay up late at night, ensuring that you have the finishing touches on everything. And Winked, for Cindy, who's my co-founder, and myself, is truly a passion project. We truly believe in meditation. We believe in the teachings of Gurudev Shri Ravi Shankar. And how do we bring all of that in a way that all of us can adult joyfully? It's been our experience of being not so joyful adults to kind of moving into being far more connected with ourselves, far more in wonder, far more childlike. And that is what we want to bring. And so it started off with a lot of passion. And it happens with a lot of us, right? We're very excited about a project because we're very passionate about it. And passion has a lot of energy to it. If you see people who are passionate, they have a lot of valor, they have a lot of courage, they have a lot of energy, enthusiasm. And to a lot of us, that carries us through, right? We rely on the energy of passion and that enthusiasm and that aliveness that we feel to start projects, to kind of even run them for a period of time, to start initiatives, to move cities. And often, two things can happen when you move with passion, right? Whatever you're doing kind of does really well. And that gives you even more energy, fuels your passion even more. And that becomes a virtuous, self-propagating virtuous cycle, as we call it. But it can also happen that you start something and it doesn't do so well. And it's very challenging. And every day there's one issue after another and you have to solve it. And over a period of time, you see that the passion starts eroding a little bit. And the joy that you felt and the expansion that you felt because of passion is no longer there. Now it becomes a grind. And that can happen either because it's not doing well, or you stayed with it long enough where it's no longer doesn't have the newness to it. In that case, what do? We're so used to passion being the driver that when passion starts waning off, when passion starts eroding, how do we move? Do we just let it go? And a lot of people do. I've seen a lot of people, they start something with so much enthusiasm or get into a relationship with so much enthusiasm. But after some time, the passion dies off, and with them, they're like, something's not working. I'm not feeling the high. I'm not feeling excited. I'm not feeling it. Because passion is the feeling, right? But feelings don't stay forever. As we all know, one of the things that is The most flirtatious in our life is feelings. They come and they go and they come back again in a different form. If we rely on the feeling of passion, it is difficult for us to sustain. What do we do then when passion starts wearing down? This is where something called commitment comes in. You know, if we only rely on passion, we're relying on our feelings and we'll be tossed around a lot. We rely so much, it's a single tool that we're relying on. But as I can tell you from my personal experience over the last few months, of course, we started with a lot of passion, and I'm a person who normally lets passion drive me. That's where I get my energy from, and a lot of you might be like that. But when you're tired, when there's a lot to happen, and when you're like, oh my God, I don't even know whether this is worth it, and you know, it's not so easy, and it's difficult, and it's one challenge after another, then what we need to rely on is something called commitment, like I said. We have to, and because commitment also has energy. It's just not as romantic and it's not as fantasized as, you know, you normally say, oh, that person is so amazing, they have so much passion. We kind of say the same thing, oh, that person is so committed, but it doesn't have the same kind of romance to it. It doesn't have the same kind of like oomph to it. But that is what sustains us. In life moves with commitment. Because if there is no commitment, the moment passion dries off or you find things are a little bit tough, you will just walk away. Be it a relationship, be it a job, be it something that you feel very strongly about, be it anything needs commitment. Because nothing is going to be even, nothing's going to be all positive. It is going to have challenges. It is going to have those days where you kind of rethink and wonder, should I have done this in the first place? Should I be doing this? Commitment allows you to not stay there, not question. Should I be here? Should I walk away? That constant evaluation that passion can bring in, commitment does not. Commitment says, you know what, I'm committed. And you'll see this with one of the best commitments that I see, or the most common form, the strongest commitments that I see is with parents. Once you have a child, you don't just walk away and say, you know what, I'm done, this is too tough. I thought, you know, parenting would be a lot more fun and kids would be a lot more fun, but this is super hard. You can't. A part of it is natural, you can't, but there's also a commitment in your mind saying, no matter what, I have brought this person in, I need to take care of them. And even when they're 30, 40, 50 years old, you still feel responsible because there's a commitment there. So I'm going to ask you, what are you committed to? Because what you're committed to, you will stay with no matter what happens. Through the highs and lows, through the challenges, through the adversities, you will jump through hoops to stay with commitment. You may not do the same thing with passion. You may do it for a short period of time, for a short burst, but it may not be something that sustains you. So passion is really great at starting something. Passion is really great when you kind of need to go through something with valor and conviction and enthusiasm. But in the long run, for anything to succeed, even if you look at athletes, you know, we're just coming out of the Olympics. We look at them and we say, oh my God, they're so amazing at swimming or gymnastics or tennis or whatever else, right? Football. You don't just become that. You wake up every morning, whether you feel like waking up or not feeling like waking up, and you stay committed to your craft. It's only when you're committed to your craft can magic happen. Can you feel fulfilled? Can you feel something transformational happen? So just see, how committed are you to things that are really important to you, the things that you're very passionate about? Are you using just one of the two levers, which is passion, and not so much commitment? Or are you using so much of commitment that it feels like a grind and there isn't any passion in it? You need both of these qualities for there to be juice and enthusiasm and sustainability in anything that we do. And to me, this has become more clear, the role that both of them play in the last few, maybe I would say the last couple of months as we've been working through the app. Right? There are days where I'm so excited and so passionate about what we're doing, and that carries me through. And then there are days where there's so many challenges and so many bugs and so many issues and things falling apart that I have to invoke the commitment to stay. And when you have both of them, I promise you, magic happens. and you become unstoppable. Nothing can come in your way. And whatever you want to do, whatever you want to achieve, whatever you want to transform happens. So I'm just going to pause over there and see if you have any questions. I know there are quite a few of us on the live today. Questions, thoughts. Which one do you rely more on? Which one works for you better? Are you truly invoking both of them, or are you a little tilted on one side versus another? I see a few people, friendly faces. Hello, good to see you. Any thoughts? If not, then we can connect back again next week on yet another Wink Live, on yet another adulting challenge. If there is, then put in your question or comment in the chat box so I can see it. So again, as we started, walk the razor's edge on both passion and commitment. Both of them are needed, right? But only if you rely on one of them, then life will either feel like you're being tossed around with passion, or you will feel super dry just with commitment. So just ensure that you're leveraging and working on both and walking that fine line between the two of them, okay? So if not, have a great Friday, a great weekend. It's one of the last ones before we kind of move out of summer into fall, at least in the US. So make the most of it. See you. Ciao. Bye.